How are you feeling?
That deep sigh makes me think I'm feeling good or bad. I don't know. How am I feeling? Well, I've officially reached the stage where I cannot wear any of my shoes, and I pulled out thank God I kept these sneakers from my last pregnancy, these slip-on sneakers that I purchased from Target or Target, shout out. Not sponsored, but I love that place. My sister says it's my favorite store. And so I kept them just so, they got kind of run down the first time, but not too bad. So I was like, let me just keep them just in case, because I don't want to. Remember last time I was struggling to find something that would fit my feet and would be comfortable, and those worked. So I pulled those out at an important meeting in the city, and this was like of course the day that I found out I can't fit any of my shoes. And I tried on every single pair of my shoes, and I was like, you know what? F it. I had like a nice outfit on with like my little like blazer type vest on and like my black slacks and my slip-on sneakers because that's the only thing that would fit on my feet. And on top of that too, I kind of hid that I had compression socks on under my slacks with the slip-on sneakers. So it was a look. I owned it.
You didn't wear your pink compression socks.
No, thank God I brought a pair of black ones. So it did maybe look like I had some tights on or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think I was excused for the shoe attire, because once they see that you're pregnant, they're like, okay, we get it. I'm not about to buy a whole dress pair of shoes and like, I think I need like 2 sizes up or extra wide. I don't know which would work. Maybe a size up and an extra wide. That might work. But, we're nearing the end. So now I'm just like hesitant on buying anything that's not postpartum. I'm just like, I have to make whatever's in my closet work. And so I did. No shame. I'm Fatima.
And I'm Brian. You're listening to Millennial and Pregnant.
While we're talking through another pregnancy, this time we're doing it with our 3-year-old.
We think we know what to expect this time around, but somehow it still feels new.
Today we're checking in to let you know what we've been up to.
If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast, with everything you need in one place. In fact, this season of Millennial and Pregnant was produced and hosted on Anchor. Here's what I love about it. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. This made it easier for me to edit my episodes on the go. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Do you need a minute to catch your breath at all?
Why?
I don't know, I'm just wondering.
This is my normal breathing now.
I know it is. That's why I was just asking. Because you are 35 weeks right now.
We're recording. Luckily, I wasn't like too rude to you. I was like, I'm taking another sip of water. Yeah, I'm good. My normal breathing. That was uncandid. So we're at 30. We're 35 weeks, but I mean, we're a day shy of being 36 weeks. Mm-hmm. So I'm very much feeling very pregnant right now.
Yeah. Well, you are carrying something the size of a honeydew melon.
Yeah. Oh, it feels heavier. It's a honeydew melon plus whatever else I picked up at the grocery store.
What's bigger, a honeydew or a cantaloupe?
It feels more like a watermelon.
A watermelon.
Like a large watermelon that you do not want to pay by the pound. Just have like $7.99 watermelon and call it a day. It's not even like, I don't even think it's, you have that extra weight in the front and that's annoying because you're kind of disproportionate at that point. But it's even just the added weight just surrounding you too that you need to like.
What added weight?
Okay, thank you so much. You're so sweet. That you just start to feel it more. Water retention, all of those stuff.
Got it. Throwing you off your balance.
Balance everything.
Yeah. Well, now that the amniotic fluid is going to be receding until birth, so the closer we get there, because not a lot of room going on. Physical development of the baby is mostly done now. Now it's just gaining weight.
Oh, okay.
Which I thought that was surprising to me.
Yeah, me too. Well, I guess
Maybe
it
not
kind of makes
surprising.
sense. I mean, we go to do our ultrasounds for the growth scans, even though we've been doing awesome, or the baby's been awesome with gaining weight, maybe more weight. It was ahead of the game. But because I was a little bit tinier, doctor had, check in, which is, fine with me. So I guess normally women wouldn't keep doing the ultrasounds like I have. So they've checked for most of the development. So mostly it's, has the baby been gaining weight? And if the mom is at an average size, starting her pregnancy, they don't really check and have those scheduled.
True.
Scheduled.
Scans.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
There's your brains on the ground.
Yeah, somewhere. Gotta find it.
But are you having any hard time sleeping? Are you having a hard time sleeping?
Yeah, I mean, I had a hard time sleeping before the pregnancy, and now I'm having a hard time sleeping now with the pregnancy. And I was really tired too because Brian went to my favorite store ever, which I already gave it a shout out. I love Target. It just has everything. So that's why I love Home Goods and Marshalls. And it's just like, you can get lost in there. And you let the store tell you what you need. So I was so tired. I've been having a lot of stuff on my mind. Like, I'll start thinking about just everything at 2 o'clock in the morning. And so I think this one started a little bit later. I probably woke up at 5, and I really couldn't fall asleep that much. And so I let you go to one of my favorite stores without me so that I can sleep. And I woke up from that 2-hour nap with drool down my mouth. It was the best sleep ever because I woke up and I didn't. Usually I wake up from naps. I'm one of those people who don't like naps because I feel more groggy. I did not feel groggy. So then I just knew, I'm like, my body is just you need sleep. So more naps in the coming weeks. Thank you, Brian, for watching the little munchkin.
That's something I wanted. I didn't want you to come because I wanted you to sleep.
Yeah, I was about to clean. I was about to you know me, I was about to start mopping the floors and stuff. And then I was like, actually, I'm going to nap. This is a good time to nap.
Yeah, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you took that opportunity to nap because that's why I took Liam to do all the errands today. It's also a full moon and the people were wild outside.
People were showing themselves, that's for sure.
Now, this one's strange because you've had heartburn your entire pregnancy.
Yeah.
But now you're going to start to feel more, the heartburn's going to be real due to your uterus now up under your rib cage.
Cool. Because I don't have to even eat anything now. And I'm just like, ooh, my heartburn.
You just got to think about it.
I just have to just, breathe and it burns.
and then we talked about your clumsiness. We talked about your center of gravity shifting, which could lead to clumsiness. And do you find yourself clumsy? I don't observe you being clumsy. No,
because I really just slow down. Even though my mom and I have my best friend from Texas here, and another best friend from college, come over and they're like, you need to sit down and chill. But that I'm like, okay, I kind of still stay up on my feet. But even when I'm standing up, I'm very careful about what I'm doing. So I'm not very clumsy.
And at this stage, do you feel bored of being pregnant yet?
And we're past the cute phase where it's just ooh, this is a cute little baby bump and I could dress it up and you're glowing. Now it's just I'm swollen. My face, just looks a little bit puffy. I don't feel like I look like myself anymore. Clothes, it's just uncomfortable just to wear anything. Right now I'm sitting in my bathrobe because this is the most comfortable thing to wear is a bathrobe. So as soon as I have a chance to change out of my normal clothes, I'm changing into my one of 3 bathrobes, which I might invest in a couple more. Because this might just be my postpartum attire as well.
Yeah, well, you're not alone because a lot of other women, according to Baby Center, feel that they're over it about now.
Yeah. It was fun.
And then things to prepare for: install your car seat, wash baby bedding and clothing.
Yeah. So we went and got like a bunch of stuff. And I was so happy going through our stuff because now I truly understand why people, why we decided to not tell people the gender, because almost all of our furs for the first 12 months clothes is gender neutral. It's nice, and it's also not even specific to, I guess, the seasons and stuff. It's just like, your grays and your creams and stuff like that. So I've already washed, I guess, I would say 90% of the stuff. Then you got some more stuff that I was like, I know we have another bag somewhere. I can't remember what I ate 2 hours ago, but I could tell him like, yep, there was another bag, blah, 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 and it has all this stuff in there. And so sure enough, Brian went back to the storage unit and it was there. So my short-term memory is gone, but my long-term memory is still there.
And all the cute Cookie Monster.
Yeah, the Cookie Monster, which is like all those things you can put on a boy, you can put on a girl. It's just cute little things. It doesn't have like a ballerina or monster truck on it. So, yeah.
But you've washed all the clothes now.
Yeah, well, not the new stuff you brought, so I just have to. Right. That I'm just gonna throw. I had separated the other ones because I wanted to separate the. I already had separated the months, so I didn't want to mix it again. And then there was some dark colors. This is all going in one wash. I'm gonna just put it on delicate. I think just pull this like one pair of red shorts. I just don't want to put in with all those light colored stuff. But like, I'm gonna throw those all in one wash.
Yeah. So I think we also feel good because we did go to the storage unit, grab all that stuff, not just clothing, but we also brought back the SNOO.
Yep. And
everything's just starting. I think when I unpacked the SNOO and plugged it in and set it up, it just brought back everything.
Right. Memories.
It brought back memories, but it also brought back me thinking about anxiety. And then anxiety coming on. It all just hit me because now, and again, I haven't been carrying the baby. So I don't have a daily.
Clarify that for anybody here who's listening or me. So maybe you're just making a statement for yourself.
Not that I have not that I forgot we were having a baby. It just wasn't top of mind because now that we have, Liam running around and everything else going on, I don't have that physical reminder, except when I look at you. I see your baby bump.
The physical reminder is looking at me, yep.
But I don't have like that, I'm carrying something.
Yeah.
And it just, setting up the SNOO, it like hit me, and I just felt very anxious.
Yeah, it's
like, oh my God, we're just waiting now, but.
I mean, you're as ready as you can be. I mean, that's the thing too. It's, I think we've said it so many times. The only thing you can prepare for a child is that you got to go with the flow, and that there's really not much to prepare. Like, obviously, it's the items you can buy, and even then, those things might not work. And so you have to just kind of let go, which for us Virgos can be very traumatizing. So, you have to kind of shift back to that, which, I think we have done that even with, raising Liam and raising a toddler. There's somewhat of like, you have to let go a little bit. But yeah, it's definitely getting real and having to like maneuver around the SNOO. And I was just thinking, I was like, we should set up the diaper pail that we got, and just really, I need a few more baskets for the closet and putting the diapers in the drawers. And I was like, yeah, this is happening. We have a new, it's so crazy because the experience of bringing Liam into this world and having, you brought this whole human with this big personality, and it's about to happen again. So it's pretty cool too.
Yeah. Probably another big personality.
Yeah.
But since the last time we recorded an episode, we hit Thanksgiving, which you need to be pregnant every Thanksgiving because everything you made, everything you touched was delicious.
Yeah,
not that it's never delicious. It was like extra delicious.
I was also trying to be like extra careful because pregnancy brain, I didn't want to forget something, and I always was double checking myself and retasting things just to make sure. And maybe my taste buds or something is heightened, my sense of smell too. So I was just like, I don't know. Yeah, but I was on my A game.
It was everything, every single thing.
Now I'm not gonna be able to cook after this.
Like your cornbread, which is usually very good, it was like extra moist, extra dense.
Moist. I love that word.
Dense in like a good way. It was it was perfect. Everything was perfect. So yeah, maybe even just make this an annual.
No, annual thing. Pregnant every Thanksgiving. No, thank you. No, thank you.
But then that same weekend, your family threw you a sprinkle, which was really nice.
So super nice, yeah.
And it's just weird. I think it's weird, not weird, but now we're experiencing, with the pandemic and trying to do some kind of normal thing in a pandemic.
Yeah.
Kind of challenges.
It was a smaller crowd, but it was so nice because even still, people who weren't able to make it, who took COVID tests and tested positive for COVID or had, other issues where they couldn't expose themselves, which is fine. They, sent such lovely, they still were there in spirit, sending gifts and nice cards, which Liam read every single card for me.
Every single one.
And so you just appreciate it, right? So you think, okay, you throw something and you have to have like this big crowd and everything else. And then you just realize that it takes a lot of effort just to even get 5 people in a room, and that you really haven't had that. I haven't had that many people over at the same time in my place in a long time. So for me, it was like bigger. Like this was like the first step into, even though we're still very much in a pandemic, but the first big step we took with having like a gathering at our place. And so it was just like the ambiance was nice. Everyone was very chill. The food was good. And we just had some laughs and chatted and opened up presents, and it was nice.
It was so nice to be around family.
Yeah.
As well. And then we went to go visit our friends for a night. Had a babysitter. And
okay,
his grandmother.
Yeah.
And it just felt so weird not having to think about this little person running around, because we haven't had that in so long.
Yeah, I know.
And it was a really nice feeling.
Yeah, even though like constantly, my mom is like trying to force us to like do something. She's like, "Do you need me?" And I'm just like, "No, like, where are we gonna go?" And so usually if like Nick or Lauren, we hang out with them, they come over here, they're within our inner circle. And so they hang out here, and it's just, Liam's still here running around. And so this time even though we played 0 games, we were supposed to have a game night because we thought this was better. But we ended up, same kind of thing, just like chatting and talking and eating lots of food, realizing that we're too old to probably eating some of the combination of food that we had, but everything was so good. But yeah, no, I'm like, wait, I'm 32 years old and pregnant. Like, what am I doing here? But yeah, no, it was really, really nice to see them and hang out, and once again, not have this person running around or entertaining, or at least I didn't have to plop them in front of like trains. Like if I really want a second mommy time or daddy time, trains are always the thing.
Yeah,
you pop up on that, but then you start feeling a little guilty. We've been really conscious about not giving that screen time to him, and just kind of, tag teaming a little bit more.
And now we're in the holidays. Like Christmas is a week away, and it just feels like this year just gone.
It did. It really did.
It's just gone.
I think it was the breakup of it all, right? The big move, the flooding.
That's true.
And, the pregnancy and like breaking it up into those trimesters and stuff. It was just like the way, and then big transactions and stuff happening for us at work. I think that kind of made the year just, you blinked and it was gone.
Yeah. It's wild that we're here now. And this last weekend grabbing everything out of storage, taking the SNOO out, but also the Doona, which also taking that out just brought back so many memories because we're wearing that stroller into the ground because when we lived in Manhattan, we walked everywhere with that stroller.
Mm-hmm.
But it just brought back so many memories. Mm-hmm. And I'm so happy we kept it because it was definitely a good thing to have.
Definitely a good buy.
And it's also hitting me, my brain goes back to the kids sharing a room because that's not something that I grew up knowing. So I'm like, how do you make sure?
Oh, I thought you were talking more about us sharing a room with the baby.
No, I've done that before.
Yeah, kids sharing a room. That's what I grew up doing.
I know, but at what age did you just start going in there as a kid? At 6 months?
Well, the thing is,
everyone else sleep?
We were all so close in age, and I was somewhat of the middle child, if there could be a middle. So I didn't know anything else. Whereas Liam, I think he does know that that's his room.
Yep.
And that's his space and stuff. So I think that was why I was really conscious about, let's keep the crib up and let's show him that he's sharing his space already. Mm-hmm. And even then, he'll have 6 more months because hopefully the baby can stay in the SNOO for the 6 months.
Please,
so
Lord.
he'll had his own room for 4 years. So it will be more of adjustment for him. And I think we just need to make it very, very clear, or just kind of help him through that. There definitely will be some, a little bit of hiccups with that, but
who's waking up who?
Yeah.
That's the stuff that I was trying to think about. Okay, now everyone's sleep schedule is going to be thrown off. It'll probably be thrown off because the baby will be crying at night.
Yeah.
Hopefully not if we have this, with the SNOO.
With the SNOO. So we'll see what happens. But not every situation's permanent right now. Yes, we're in a 2-bedroom. I think for at least the first year, they'll be sharing a room, and then we'll see what happens. Maybe they'll get their own rooms.
Yeah. But that was just that was just hitting me, sharing a room. Okay, well, what if Liam's sleeping and I need to go in there for the baby some things? And I'm like, oh my God, I got to wake up Liam. And then just all these scenarios popped into my head, and that inner voice just yapping on. It's more like a panel.
No, it's true.
It's a panel of them.
Okay, what do you do? We might have to reassess and be like, okay, do we put the crib in our room? Because
it won't fit.
You could make it fit.
No, I don't think so.
Your bike would need to figure out.
Peloton would have to move to Liam's room.
Yeah, we can't put the bike in there.
I know.
It'll work out. It'll work out. Let's,
Yeah, and it was just, I don't know why it hit me. And then I'm just mentally preparing myself by just tying things up at work, trying to put a Bible of my work life together. So that's just been very interesting lately. And then going through the newborn clothes. Do a lot of people save them? I feel like in my family they were always passed down.
I think so. I think a lot of people save them. I think there came a time somewhat in the middle where people weren't doing it as much, and now people are very environmentally conscious, so they're making sure they're saving things. And the newborn clothes, the first 12-month clothes, honestly, sometimes your kid only wore it once.
Yeah.
So it's in really. Some of the things I was touching, I was like, feels like it's new, and I just took the tag off.
Does it smell like newborn Liam?
No, it doesn't. It smelled like storage.
Okay.
So I touched them. I was like, wow, this wasn't washed that well. And then you could tell the stuff that we had him wearing most of the time, which people get your friends or family who's having a kid, those onesies that zipper up, the two-way onesies with the footies and the option to cover their hands. Those are the things that, honestly, you're constantly throwing and changing on the baby. And especially now having a winter baby, I'm like, I know we're going to need more of those. We had a ton, which this is all Liam wore was just the onesie. we had like maybe 3 pair of pants. Like, do not waste your money on pants. Like, little baby, especially in the summer, like the onesies. And I'm pretty sure are more than 75% of the onesies he had, he only wore one time.
Wow.
So they were in great condition. So yeah, I think that, a lot of people do pass it down, and then some toddler stuff. But we're realizing if your toddler plays on the floor a lot, on their knees, that some of the stuff,
all the holes,
or like to stretch out their necks of their clothes.
Did you see him with his pajama tonight? When I put it on him, because it was just washed, and it's just the collar is just it's a low cut collar now.
So I would imagine that, and we're going to be more picky now that we're putting away some of the toddler things and seeing what we can reuse. I'm just going to have to just be like, let's just give this away, and like, or have it go to a recycling type clothing things. Like, there's so many different options you can do for like mailing in or finding a local place that you can donate to.
Yeah, if your family or friends don't have any need for them.
Yeah.
And that going through all those clothes was just such a fun, not nostalgic, but like just brought back so many memories going through all those onesies. I know it does. Like, seeing and they're so tiny, the clothes.
Yeah, we found the hospital blanket and the little hat that he came home in. And so now I'm like, I need to find like a little box or, cute little thing so that they can each have their, if they want to keep it.
Yeah.
Because at some point I'm like, okay, I have no space, take them kind of thing. Or, here you go. So I'm trying to hold on to those things because I feel like you just don't throw those away.
Yeah.
And so that was really nice seeing, or the little Cookie Monster that your dad brought home for him, and just like putting like his first Halloween outfit, his first Christmas outfit. I think that's really it that they really need to like really keep Halloween and Christmas. At least that's, Brian's thing. So, I started thinking about it and like when they wore it. Yeah. And just looking at the size, I'm like, what?
So tiny.
This like so tiny. And I just have to remind myself that babies are much more sturdier than you think.
Yeah.
Obviously, you need to support their head, but with changing them.
I didn't even think of that.
What?
Like, hopefully it'll be muscle memory coming back to like a brand new baby and handling a brand new baby.
Yeah.
I hope it'll be muscle memory.
Yeah, I think so. I think we weren't like super nervous with handling.
That's true.
With handling him, because
I think we talked about this.
Yeah.
Last season, where it was like when it's your own baby, you feel a little more comfortable.
Yeah.
Versus someone else's baby. Like, I feel like.
And I remember my brother saying when like my little niece was born, it's like, she's much more sturdy than like you think.
Yeah.
And like that kind of like stuck with me.
Like be a little rag doll.
Here my little brother's giving me advice on the baby, and I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. Like, they are like much more sturdy than you think. Like, obviously do not drop your baby. But like when you're changing them and stuff like that, like they'll be fine.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's just like I was thinking before when we first purchased clothes, I'm like, I can't have anything that goes over their head, and I have to like get that over their head. Everything needs to be, be able to have like a jacket type of thing, and then button or a zipper.
Yep.
And so now I'm like, no, I'm not really like too worried about that. It will always still be scary to when you bathe your baby for the first time, because they're just slippery.
Yeah.
They're really, really slippery. Like, I remember I was very anxious bathing Liam the first time, because he's just like all over the place peeing.
Yeah.
It pretty much was like the quickest sponge wipe down ever, because I was like, I can't do this. Like, we're done. And then the next time we did it in like the kitchen sink, and we like tag teamed, or we knew like what exactly to do so he wasn't too slippery. Much, much better once they can hold their head up. Like, it's like night and day.
Yep.
And then of course around that time, which is like the 4-month time, that's when you go back to work. And you're like, damn it.
Yeah.
Like, they're finally holding their head up. Like, what's going on? Anyways, I digress.
And then, to talk about the end of the show, but looking back on how we have evolved and adapted as parents with Liam, what have you learned as being a parent or parenting Liam? Whether it be something new that you didn't realize that you needed to learn, or that you've learned and no one told you, or someone told you and you're like, okay, that's, outdated, or
there's
whatever.
definitely a lot of things that I learned just about babies in general, and like hard phases that they go through, like teething. No, like what?
Like,
No
why
one
is this a
really
2-year
no one really
process?
sits you down and talk about teething and be like, and how early it starts on, and how miserable the baby can be, or what happens, when the baby first gets their first cold or stuffy nose, and like how to handle that, like, and how scary that could be, and the breastfeeding journey. So all those little techniques and things about babies, obviously I learned during that time. But something about myself is that I always thought I was people probably would laugh if they hear this, and I thought I was a very calm, patient person, which maybe if you compare me against some of the people I'm around, that I am. I could tend to be that sense of calm and patient. And I realized I didn't really have as much. I was not as chill as I thought I was. And so I think over the time with, finding a balance, because obviously there are things that you shouldn't be too chill about, right? And that you should still, not freak out, but, drive home that this is important, or like, no, you can't break that rule. But most of the things I'm like, have to kind of like let go a little bit, or just be a little bit patient, if I'm trying to, especially with Liam in the toddler phase, because obviously it's fresh in our minds right now. But they were just like, you expect, your child to like be listening to you or do the routine, and you're trying to, now we're at the stage where we're trying to make him more independent. So I'm like, well, I need to give him probably 10 to 15 minutes to get his jacket and shoes on. Or else I'm going to end up being like, okay, let's go. So it's just like those little things where you have to kind of build that in, and it helps you be more patient if you give him a little bit more time. Like, they just don't move. These little people move so slow. They'll run around like a crazy people at the park, or through the house when you don't want them to, and feel like they have like a ton of energy at 5 o'clock in the morning. But then you go, okay, time to get your shoes and jacket on. And it's literally a 20-minute activity. So, I've learned to be a little bit more patient and figure out ways that I could be a little more patient with myself and with this little person, with Brian. Sometimes he probably gets the brunt of it, where I'm just like, I've been really patient with this little human, so you're just gonna get the impatient version of me, which I feel like that just happens, right, in relationships when you're brand new parents and trying to figure it out. Like, sorry to the spouse, but try to be mindful of that as well. So I have to be better. Can't always blame it on my hormones. But anyways, so I think that's like the biggest thing that I've learned while being a parent, and in the newborn phase. Like, there was just so many things, like trying to get this baby to sleep. Like, it was just, it was a lot. So we had to be patient with the baby, patient with ourselves. We came up probably weeks later with like a routine of what we were doing, where you had all diapers and stuff, and we switched off with bedtime and everything else, and I had all the feedings. So it's like we figured it out. Probably should even still iron out a little bit of that stuff before the baby comes, and be like, what are we doing? Is it the same thing?
Iron out those details.
Because I can remember when you were like, oh, yes, I heard white noise is good. And like, you did the white noise. And I was like, this is horrible. I don't want to hear this. And then sure enough, like, Liam was sleeping a little bit better with the white noise. And now he still needs some like sound when he is sleeping. So I have to remember to be more receptive as well to like suggestions and stuff like that. But then, once again, it's still okay. There's things I just won't budge on. And that's fine, because I just know my comfort level. Like, I'm not judging anyone. Like, I know tons of people do like the sleep training, cry it out method. For me, like, it's just something is like in me, like where I just cannot do it. Maybe because Liam was really loud too.
Yeah.
But that was, I need, hopefully this baby can self-soothe, or there's other ways that we can think about how we can self-soothe the baby, help them figure out how to self-soothe outside of just like cry it out one time. But those are things will be on top of my mind, just because Liam was, I will never regret what we did, because I think we just got he's the most loving kid in the world. Like, just he will always come up to Brian and I and like give us kisses and hugs and tells us like every single day that he loves us. So like, I know we did something right. I lost I can't even tell you how much hours of sleep, but this kid like really, you can tell he has a real connection with both of us. No, not. I'm just really out of breath.
No, your eyes were glazing.
Oh, I'm not crying. But I think it's because we dove into that, like really comforting him and being that sense of safety for him, that I think has made him such a loving person. And it even transcends to my mom and our family and stuff like that. You can just tell, like, when he feels safe with someone, that's when you can see that he really truly like opens up and stuff. So like, I'm glad that we had created that safe space for him, even though it meant sacrificing a lot
of sleep.
A lot of sleep, but it was worth it.
That's true. Anything else you learned?
Anything else I learned?
I think I learned to go more with the flow, like you were saying, instead of, I don't know, just trying to stick to something.
To a schedule,
not
to
even
a plan.
A schedule, because there was sort of like go with the flow for breastfeeding, but and we tried to have it, still have a schedule, because babies like routines, but just like let it go. Just, if it doesn't work out, whatever, it doesn't work out, try something new.
Yep.
So I think that's really the biggest one. And then now lately helping to find interests, or helping Liam find interests, has been eye-opening, just in terms of trying to get him to explore other things and trying to figure out what he's interested in, and then help guiding him to explore new things.
Yeah, no, that's true, because you could be like, oh yeah, my kid, they love trains, let's just get them all train things. And it's just like, well, okay, but maybe that's all that you got in him. Like, maybe let's try something different. Like, would they be more into their play kitchen if they had more things that were similar to what you have in the kitchen? So I think that like that's a big thing that he really, really loves. Or just like music and stuff. Like, he gets so calm and engrossed when he's listening to music. So it's just like, okay, like, let's turn the music. Let's turn the Sonos on a little bit more, or even show him how to use it. Because, now he does. He's like, Alexa, turn on, do this, do that. So he's like really into that.
Turn on the Rockefeller Christmas tree.
Turn on the Rockefeller Christmas tree. So that's actually a really, really good point. It's just like kind of helping them maneuver that a little bit. And also realizing that, okay, if like the child's not particularly doing something, I'm like, why are you not listening? Or why are you not doing this when I tell you to do it? And then you're like, okay, well, besides me telling them that they should be doing this, am I doing that? Yeah. So it's been making me look inwards more, and I'm like, okay, like maybe I need to look into Brian's eyes a little bit more. Do I always say thank you when he gives me something? Do I always say please when I ask for something? Do I clean up after myself? Or what do I do in my jacket when I come in the house? Which usually it was throw it on the chair or something else, and now I'm like more mindful and I hang it up in the closet. So he knows that there's a place for everything, and that, having conversations and getting down and like really I was talking to Melanie on the couch yesterday, and he literally just like tilted his head and was looking at Melanie as she's talking and like looking at us having a conversation. And at first she had said something, and then we just kept just having the conversation. He like looked at us the entire time while we were going back and forth. And I was like, okay, I need to carve out more time where I'm with my friends and I'm talking with them. Or even when I'm just talking with Brian, and so he can see, and he sees our interaction, how we're talking with each other and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, this is important, and I need to make sure I'm incorporating that more, because now he needs even a little bit more, not just is he fed, blah, 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 like all the necessities, and does he know he's safe, and a hug and a kiss. He needs to now see, when you're now molding him into like, how can I now, the person I'm going to be, and like how I communicate and how I can be social. And he's looking to us to really be that North Star and guide him through that. And so that means that we have to be more social.
In a pandemic.
In a pandemic, in a safe way, right?
Yeah.
And so you have to just kind of maneuver that.
Yep. And then going back to your jacket, will you be putting it on the same way he does?
No. I don't know if anyone has heard this, which you could talk about it.
No, I was just saying I have never heard of this method called flip-flop over the top. It's the cutest thing to watch him put his arm facing the jacket on the floor from the top with the hood, I guess, of a jacket at his feet, upside down, putting his hands through the sleeves, lifting it up over his head.
Flipping it over his head.
And he's wearing the jacket.
And then,
Flip-flop over the top.
So Melanie was like, so what are they going to do when they're older? They're going to keep doing that? I was like, that's a very good point. I'm like, it's probably more of, if you have like 12 kids in a class or up to 14 kids in a class, and you only have a teacher and a teacher assistant, how can we get these kids? They only have 30 minutes outside. It could take 30 minutes to zipper up everybody's jacket.
Yeah.
So how do we get the kids to help us, halfway, because they are still working on some of their fine motor skills of how to like really fully dress themselves. But and even goes back into like being more patient and getting like Liam ready, realizing that, okay, maybe 8:45 when I have a 9 o'clock meeting is not the right time. So we get dressed at 8:30 now.
Yep.
And we pretty much use like that full half an hour. But I let him undress himself and then help him only when he asks for the help. Where he's like, Mommy, can you please help me? I don't jump in. And I let him dress himself, and then, only guiding him a little bit, because even sometimes he doesn't even say, oh, I don't have to say, now what do you do with your dirty clothes and put in the hamper? He just knows. He's like, oh, and he picks it up and do it. So I have to like stand back and just shh and like not say anything. And only when he's kind of seeming to detour, which could be just a lot, like it can be a lot, do I guide him like, okay, what do we do next? And then we do this. And then eventually I think everything will kind of click. We had like a few moments where he, for the longest time, he was like really annoyed with me washing his hair and detangling his hair. And I'm like, am I hurting you? Is Mommy hurting you? And so he just kind of go, and as I go more gentle, because I could be a little heavy-handed, I got more gentle with him. He would pull away less. And so the other day he goes, Mommy, that hurts. And I go, oh, okay. I was like, I'm sorry. And he goes, thank you for saying sorry. I nearly fell over. I'm like, because we say that all the time. We're like, thank you for saying this to him all the time. Has never, ever said it back to me, being like, thank you, or have ever said and identified, this hurts, like identifying there's some pain. It's not just me being difficult in the bathtub. You're hurting me because you're heavy-handed, mother. So I'm like, I'm trying to help him identify those things. And just one day, everything clicks for them. Yep. And so it's just such a beautiful moment when that does happen, because you're just like, oh, wow, like I'm not just talking to a wall. This is good.
And then to close us out, what are you looking forward to this week? In life, in pregnancy, in
I'm just looking forward to just slowing down a little bit more and just trying to rest. And I think that I got in a lot of like the big things off the list. And I was really glad we did a big push last week, and then this past weekend of just trying to get everything ready. And so I'm just trying to now rest because everyone keeps telling me I need to. So I'm just like, okay, whatever. I'm going to rest because I do remember how tired I was in that first, what did we say? It was like 7 weeks, right? That we were just like, we were zombies.
Oh, yeah.
The first 6 or 7 weeks, you are you're a zombie.
I think I said it took, I haven't listened to the episode in a while, but I think I said it took like 2 weeks to get used to not sleeping. Mm-hmm. And then a month was like, okay, I can live off of little sleep.
Yeah.
But then a few weeks later, you're used to it and you're like, ooh, I need to build in some naps. Mm-hmm. I think that was sort of my progression.
Yeah.
Because the first week I was wired on adrenaline.
Yeah, it was adrenaline.
Every movement at night or just like noise.
Yeah.
I just shoot my head up out of bed. Yeah.
What do you go through your checklist of like all the baby needs, and it's really just like 2 things. Yeah. Like, does the baby need to be changed or fed? And then they'll go back to sleep after that, right? So yeah, I think there's that, and I also need to, in which I let probably because my friend Melanie is very bossy, but she and like the only person that ever really lets me helps me in the kitchen to like clean up is my mom. Mm-hmm. Like even sometimes I'm like with Brian. Well, Brian too, right? Obviously, it's both of our kitchen. But any guests that I have, I feel like I need to be this host, and I need to, it seems it's a very intimate thing for me to clean my house. Mm-hmm. I'll go to people's house and I'll wash the dishes. How many times have I washed your mom's dishes or, gone to my friend's house and done that? But then when I'm in my space, I'm just like, it's as if they're cleaning my underwear. That's how I feel. I feel just like as if they're hand washing my underwear. Like it just seems very intimate to me because I'm just like, this is like my thing. And she
Our wedding plates?
Huh?
Our wedding plates?
No, just like cleaning my kitchen. Yeah. And like getting into them, just like, oh, this is my mess. Like I I don't like that. But I let go, and she's like, sit down. She's like, you know what this means? You just cooked dinner for me, so that means I'm gonna clean. And she just like, probably was forceful like how my mom could be. And I was like, okay, Melanie, like, yeah, you can clean them. And then like when she was here for the, next day and a half, I just gave up. I was just like, sure. And I just like sat down, so maybe people need to be more like that, and maybe I'll let them.
Clean.
Then again, Melanie and my mom's standard of cleaning is like my standard of cleaning. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate, I let go when they're in there, because like they'll dry things off and put it away and all that other stuff. They clean out the sink.
Yeah.
Like she was cleaning out the sink. She took the grate up, like how my mom does, how I do. And took the grate up and she scrubbed the grate. And I was just like, do you want to come move in with me? Because you're more than welcome to stay. I try to get her to stay another night. And she's like, oh no, she wanted to travel and go over. She had to drive to Brooklyn, so she drove there at night. She's like, I've been feeling more awake during nighttime. I was like, are you sure? Because I'll make you breakfast in the morning, clean my kitchen, and then go. So I'm definitely going to try to make sure I accept help more. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's what I'm trying to. I'll try.
Yeah, I'll try. That seems to be the theme of the episode. Letting go, and we'll try.
As hard as we can.
As hard as we can.
That's all for this episode, but make sure you're following the show so you know when the next episode is out.
Check out our website, liliesandloafers.com, for cooking and DIY inspiration and more updates from our growing family.
Millennial and Pregnant is a Lilies and Loafers original podcast. It's hosted by me, Fatima.
And me, Brian. Original music by Purple Planet. Thanks for listening. We'll see you soon.